Yeah. What is the top today? I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission for Thursday, August 24th, 2023. The time on my watch currently is 1:38 p.m. I'll proceed with a roll call. Present today is myself, Anita Enriquez, chairperson, Commissioner Leilani Flores, Mayor Melissa Tavares, present. Mayor Luis Rivera, present. Mayor Anthony Chartla, Mayor Bill Kingham, present. Executive Secretary Joseph Borja, not present. Deputy Director Richard Arroyo, present. Legal Counsel Kristen Finney, sorry. Chief Planner Celine Cruz, and we have other members of the planning staff. Very nice to see you here. We have a quorum. We can proceed. Today's meeting is being live streamed on YouTube at the Guam Department of Land Management channel. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We have before us the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission regular meeting minutes of October 27, 2022. Up for approval. Commissioners have an email to draft, and I am ready to entertain a motion when you are ready.
I move to approve the minutes from October
27. This is Mayor Tavares. The motion was made by Mayor Tavares. Is there a second to this motion? Okay. Commissioner Ronnie. Any discussion on the motion before we proceed? Any edits or omissions? Okay. There being none, all in favor of approving the minutes of October 27, 2023, please say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. It's unanimous. The minutes are approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the old or unfinished business. I can see there are none to be entertained, so we shall proceed with the next item, which is new business. We have before us the conditional use application number H2022-60. The applicant, TeleGuam Holdings LLC, DBA GTA, requests a conditional use permit for the proposed construction and operation of a cable landing station on lot 154-R4 in the Municipality of Inalahan in an R1 single family dwelling zone. The case planner for this application is Ms. Sunny Goodwee. I will now turn the floor over to the applicant to provide a presentation. Please state your name for the record.
All day, good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, as well as the honorable mayors. My name is Daniel Tedeko, Executive Vice President for TeleGuam Holdings. Alongside me are Carl Leon Guerrero, our Vice President of Strategic Infrastructure, and Claudia Camacho from TCA Burns, who've been helping us with the necessary and planning and construction items here. for consideration, favorable consideration, our Guam Land Use Commission. I'm very pleased to see our hopefully newest partner, once this is approved, and we're receiving forth near Target from Inalahan. We've had the requisite outreach and required public meetings and hearings down there, down in this municipality. And we've been graciously received by the community. We've pointed out what our plans are for the particular project for our cable landing station down in Inalahan, and we look to establish a very good partnership with not just Inalahan, but the surrounding villages down in the southern ring of Guam. And this is going to be companion to our project that we have going on right now with the $29.7 million USDA funding that we received from RUS. And this is to ensure additional broadband connectivity primarily to the southern residents and to assist them with their telecommunications. We've been fortunate to have been partnered with recently. Last time we were here with Mayor Rivera and the Tuban and Harmon area with the construction which is taking place now with our cable landing station just down the road over here. So similarly, we're going to be doing a structure akin to what the other landing station is going to be down in Inalahan. But I'm going to let Carl and Claudine take over and give the particulars of the project as it is for Inalahan.
Thank you, Mr. Timmy.
Good afternoon, everybody. So today we're, like Dan mentioned, we're here in front of you guys to get approval to construct a cable landing station down in Inalahan. Part of our overall our objective is we have a lot of cable landing stations on the west coast of the island of Guam. All of them are in that area. And so to provide some diversification, we decided to look at these, and with one of our consultants, we found that Inalahan was the best location for us on the east side, and particularly Inalahan Bay. And so that's why we picked lot 154 National Forest. That's because it's right across the bay, and it gives us a good access to the water. That's why we decided on that location. The description of the lot itself. So it's an intersection of Route 4 and Belen Avenue. Belen Avenue is the site that goes toward the road that goes towards the Inalahan. And again, we picked that location because it's right across the street. Just a couple of things that the lots that are surrounding us are near us. We have a couple of commercial lots actually down there in Inalahan. Across the street on the bay, lot 115. And then next to us across the street is lot 112-1, 112-2 that are also commercial lots. That's where companies that store for almost have a lot. Those are the commercial lots that are right next to us. So it's not, we're close to those facilities. And then also, of course, GWA has a pump station there. So again, from a utilities perspective, we're again in that same area of another utility. So we want to say, we're putting a facility down there, particularly for the East Coast side, for diversification for all cable lines to Guam as we go about this industry. Go to the next slide. Just to kind of give you an idea, this is Guam's. It's becoming an international hub today, and we're trying to build that up with this new infrastructure here. Again, I mentioned though, we have a cable landing station that we're building today at Lupe. That is much bigger than the one that we're doing down in the south, that are down in the this one is, I think the Lupe is somewhere around 30,000 square feet. It's over 30,000 square feet. This site is approximately 19,000 square feet. And the only reason why that is because we have a second floor. And give you an idea why, because of the flooding. We want to make sure from a flooding perspective that we take care of that when we're training down there for floods. But also, we also want to make sure we take into account the tsunamis that we have. So we wanted to keep a site up, raise it up by 20 points. That's the reason why I'm saying that. Otherwise, this building would only be 12,000 square feet. Just gonna give you an idea of why it's 30,000. It's not because we want to, or 19,000. It's only the reason why it's the second floor. And again, to kind of give you an idea, we have a lot of cables coming into Guam already. We see this as a very good industry. That's why GTA is ever into this industry here. So yeah, we have. I think there are. If you go to the next page, there's 12 active cable systems on Guam. Coming to Guam right now. And again, we're trying to attract a lot of the tech giants. We have, the tech giants like Big G, Google, Meta, Facebook. Those kinds of companies we're looking to partner up with here in Guam. Let's try to grow that industry. Yeah, and also with that, high-tech jobs will be under Guam as well. We believe it's an efficient and clean industry because we're not crazy. So the only time we have footprint of is when we do our generation. Emergency operation. Again, if you go to the next two slides down again, next slide up, more slide up, sorry. Just kind of give you a visual of where we're located at. That's the corner of Bell Road, Southern Avenue, up forward. That's the road going up to Inalahan. And like I mentioned, there are great commercial lots that are next to it as well. Now, I just like to go over the end of the site plan, just to kind of give you an idea of what the location looks like. And it's the building itself it's where the cable landing equipment will be located at 2 floors. And the second floor is where the equipment will be at. We'll have two generators there. So we can have redundancy. 2 electrical rooms, and you'll see that on the next slide. But again, it's just to give you an idea that we are also putting a facility for cable landing. That's back to the next. The lines in purple, those are what we call horizontal directional drilling. Those will be ducts that go underground. We'll drill underneath about 100 feet below the surface. And so we'll miss all the archaeological works that are from our site to the bay.
Just to stress that and amplify what Carl's noting, we're doing that similarly, and it's the first time it's been done here on Guam with the Liou project. We're doing the whole direction building. It's totally underneath the seabed, underneath the reef. And similarly, we'll be doing that in Inalahan. It'll be under the bay, under the road that crosses over across the street to the property that's listed there. And when we made this presentation to the mayor, from Simone and her group, we indicated that everything that was coming through Liou Bay, they would never see anything on the top. Like the old historical cables that's been. We're not even cutting the top of the reef. So we've avoided the reef, any damage to the reef or any impact to the ecosystem of the water. And as it is now through Liou Bay, comes under that bay, under the reef, under the bay, under the road, there's the Clara property on the beach side, the Clara Mendiola under the road. It pops up into our lot where we're constructing. That's what we're going to end up being similar to in projects.
But today, again, like Dan mentioned, we are drilling underneath the lot 115, which is Mr. Liou's family. Yeah, so we'll be together and work with that. Go to the next slide. You can kind of see the first floor. See under it's mostly just storage area. I apologize if you can't see it, but it's mostly just storage area, and we use one of the rooms, the big yellow room, for the cable vault, and that's where we'll put the cables into the building, prep it, and then move it upstairs, get it upstairs to the room. There's nothing exciting there. Just again, like I said, this is basically parking area and storage area that's needed because we need to get it up to the second floor. The big exciting stuff is in the second floor. So in the next slide, you'll see that we have an equipment room. That's the yellow room there. And then on the side of it, to the left of it is two electrical rooms, and the reason being is it provides redundancy, that's why we have two electrical rooms. And then also, because of if there's fire, or there's incident in one, we can then shut it down and still have service to the building. Again, also similarly on the left is, you'll see two generators. Yeah, that's a philosophy for redundancy to make sure we don't have any interruptions in service to the building. We'll also have a elevator for moving equipment upstairs. That again, it's just something our customers like to see when we're moving equipment upstairs. Going to the next slide. This is what Dan was talking about, the yellow line that depicts the route that we will be taking to do the directional drilling. So from the property along the 54-R4, we'll take it out to the mouth of the bay, which is about 8 feet deep. We'll get it up far enough so that we can, avoid all the any environmental impacts of the bay. Yeah, just a note there again, bay right now as we see it, as has been explained to me by the environmentalists, is that this is a brackish water, meaning it's got a lot of runoff, and that was from the runoff from the river. The river that comes into the bay, and so it brings all that mud and into the bay, and that's what's covering.
Just one clarifying, well, not just to add on, if it's possible. You mentioned at the outset that all the cables that come in Guam right now are presently constructed on the western side of Guam. So we undertook exhaustive studies for the hydrological, the tidal, and the seismic studies on the eastern side, and that whole area, inclusive of any of the ecosystems that could be impacted and stuff. Historically, we've never just constructed any of those systems on the eastern side, but at this point in time, it's recommended, yes, this is probably the best area for us to consider coming into putting that additional cable in to ensure that there's not a single threaded on one side of the island concerning the connectivity. So there's that redundancy and the resiliency that will build up Inalahan for at least us, for our infrastructure, as a foresight for us. We want to keep those foresights up, and they're critical infrastructure, as everybody knows here during the typhoon, post, during and post recovery. We kept our foresights up, and those are critical. If any of these cables landing stations go down, Guam will be dark and cut off from the world. So we're doing everything possible to make sure that we have as much connectivity and redundancy as possible for ensuring that we're able to communicate, not just locally, but getting on.
Also, so in terms of the project description, the next slide, first part is we're doing a construction of the CMS. There's going to be 6 ducts or 600 underground undersea cables coming to the line, and so that's building up for. Of course, there's going to be a cable vault, so the cables can come into the facility. And then just real quick, there's going to be equipment room for servers, for equipment to fiber optic equipment to communicate with the undersea cable. Again, there's going to be 2 generator rooms, 2 electrical rooms. Storage will be there. There's a loading area, and then of course there's restroom for the individual facilities. Other note that I wanted to make sure is we know is this site is not going to be a fully manned site. We believe the way we the plan is to have it visited for maintenance reasons only. So, or when they do installation, when they do installation, and maintenance requirements. So on a normal basis, it'll be visited once a week to go to the equipment, make sure the equipment's running, operating, get some measurements, and then go. So it'll be there for 10, 15 minutes and then gone. If they're doing maintenance, they're going to be doing maintenance on the equipment. So maintenance will be done on an air conditioning system. Of course, we got to make sure it's the equipment's ready. The generators will be also maintained and checked. So those are the kind of volume of individuals that will be there. It's very low. And then the next slide, again, as we talked about, the building itself is 19,000 square feet, 7,800 on the first floor, and 11,600 on the second floor. And we really try to right size it to for the facility because of the, we did have a bit of a, when we bought the lot, was the shaker lot. What happened is when we got it, as we were doing our due diligence, we found that there was wetlands on it, so that was like 2 acres, 0.1 acres. 0.8 of it was wetland. So working with EPA, Department of Ag, and before we got to location and the description of the wetlands approved, and so now we're avoiding that as well as part of our construction. But one of the things we did have to do is we have to put a buffer zone 45 feet from the wetland, and so we'll be adhering to that as well. So we limited our spaces. We had outside our equipment that was released. And then also the next one, the ducts, again, like we mentioned, the ducts will be for fiber optic submarine cables. Again, they'll be coming in undersea, coming up, and then from there, we will take it to the rest of the island. Yeah, there's multiple cable landing stations along. Guam's pretty, it's a pretty unique location where we have as many cable landings as we do out there. Top has one and PD, they call it PD, and then there's also ours and PD. And then there's 2 AT&Ts up in Tank, 2 on and then Tank. Those are 4 locations that are in cable landing station. But there's more and more people wanting to come to Guam. High-tech things that said Google wants to come in, Meta wants to come in. So, you know, we think that there's a big case for us to keep building this facility. In terms of water requirements, go to the next slide there. Very minimal again, as I mentioned, this is not a managed station, so we believe it's going to be low water usage. But we do have facilities there for the staff, but they do need to go there and do the work. So again, very low usage, 36 gallons a day, average day, and from max 54 gallons. So we're not talking a lot of usage there. In terms of power, again, the next slide is the next on the power. We were able, because we downsized the building, we were able to go from a 4.5 is what we originally had. And GPA said that they were okay, but we would have to do some work on it. So we reduced it again, and we're now at 700 kVA, which is within their requirements. So we work with GPA on that. Again, on the next slide, we just, as I mentioned, we did have wetlands. And we had to incorporate our design to take into account the wetlands. Again, we have to we're not building anything on the wetlands, as well as we have to keep the 25-foot buffer zone for the property along the wetlands. In terms of the next slide again, the topography, the storm water, the way the property is, the water flows from our northwest area down into our property and goes into the wetlands. And that's what it says today. There is some vetting that we're going to have to work with. We've already worked with Department of Ag to kind of figure out how we can make it work. And we'll be partnering up with them to make sure we clean up our drains. We're ready to work with them on that, so we do that. As well as trying to work with the CW to make sure we, you know, the water coming out of the drains as it's supposed to be. The land use, the next slide. The land use, we have 2 floors. Again, we want to make sure we're within our height of the building height, which is 30 feet. So our average height is 28.5 feet, 28.5 feet, we're well within our 30-foot height limit for there. And as well as it's 3 stories, so don't expose it. Okay. Just to give you some ideas of the architectural, again, our building, we built the building, we designed it inspiration of the way I was architecting and you know, Chicago and FBC was and they designing it. So that was kind of, we want to keep that glossy. So you look at the front of the building, and it looks like a check mark, but that's kind of that was our architectural inspiration of the way. So that's how we were trying to do that. Things that we're thinking about doing is putting some floral in the front of the property, as well as on the fencing, something with the Gano drawings that we have at Gano State. As well. Again, The main purpose though, we gotta make sure it's very resilient, so we can make sure we're operating 24/7, 365 during the typhoons, earthquakes, and power interruptions. So therefore, the generators, 2 generators at the site. Again, things that we're trying to do with the generators is to mitigate the noise. So we put a wall on the outside of the generator room so that it muffles the noise, as well as we're gonna run the mufflers to the sky and push the noise. So there's more work to do. Security, again, there's going to be we're going to put security cameras out there. We're going to make sure that the gate is fenced. We're going to fence in our property so that we don't have anybody coming into the property. And then always access control and can't put that in. And then that's the next slide. Also, I talked about the generator noise, also the HVAC noise. We're going to have HVAC issues. So again, we're putting walls around our condensers that are going to be on top of the roof. Keep that up top. So then again, all the noise can rise to the top. We rise up instead of out to the neighbors. Traffic mitigation, because of the fact that we're only having maintenance workers go towards the site, traffic that's really very low. We believe that only time that we get any visits other than maintenance would be that we're installing new things. So that's what we'll see us in. And they get water impacts because it's station on site. It will be very minimal. Light pollution, the way we're handling it, again, we're gonna lower the light because it's pointing down, so that it's pointing down to set them up for the sky. So we're really that's all I have for
we did not find any locally or friendly use restrictions in the project site. We did provide 0.1 for the mission. For discussions with on Liou, there was the 25% the boundary was inspected and settled on the agencies. So Carl mentioned stormwater. Stormwater will be handled so that it continues to flow into the wetlands, start the wetland, maintaining that hydrology that's important to EPA is satisfied. As well as providing treatment before the water is discharged. So much is committed to sustaining so that getting to get control, DJs, so this project would involve some monitoring during before and during construction. So we can check the construction survey to confirm the artificial birds before vegetation moves within construction, as well as during construction or any arbitrary birds not monitored to the site or even environmental feedback. So there's evidence that this is at the site there we were putting mango tree less on the down south. So that's our very important. So we just want to make sure that not having in fact EPA is taking the extra step for maintaining the fruit trees at the front. So they'll continue to do that. Yeah, we're happy to take any questions.
I mean, one thing, the good mayor for Middle and again for primarily it's NPC for drafting his resolution and document fascinated down there after we had made presentations to not just the NPC but also to the community, and there were several residents that came in and asked some very valid questions to see what kind of impact this particular facility would have and the project would have in their community, and totally understand the island as well. We all grew up here, and we assured them, and hopefully their concerns were assuaged that this is going to be a good project, and not just down south, but for the island. So I want to thank you.
Bustamante, thank you for a very comprehensive, very thoughtful presentation before the Hybrid Commission this afternoon. I now wanted to turn over to my colleagues, Commissioner and Honorable Mayors, to see if you have any questions for the representatives of this afternoon. Mayor starts.
Carl, you mentioned you're digging 100 feet down, both on land and in the water.
Yeah,
in the
so,
bay?
it's a slope that about 60-degree slope that we will go, and then it's at the bottom, a little bit, about 100 feet down. And then we'll go on 100 feet throughout, and then through the bay, and then come up about 8-foot mark. So it's going to be low so that we're missing any archaeological. We want to move that from the equation of any needs to slow down our project. So, yeah, we will do roughly about 100 feet.
Any other questions?
And that, by the way, Madam Mayor, that's the preferred method these days of doing submarine cable construction. It's costly. It's multiple times more costly, but in the end, we understand the need to mitigate any impact to the environment.
Any other questions? So I did read the packet and I caught something that was rather sleeping quarters. Did I get that right?
Yes. And the reason being is during the typhoons, we will have individuals stay at the site for that emergency period. We got to get them to sleep. They have the restaurant here.
Just to give you a more recent example, like for example, in PD, down at our cable landing station with partnership down there during the typhoon, that's a big facility. And the power was up. Our crews had to be down there to make sure that those generators kept running. That's a core site for the island. It's one of the critical core sites here for the sub cables, the CUS sub cables that come in and out. That traverse from Asia all the way to one Wilshire in the west coast. So we have big assets down there. They're big tanks. I think the generator fuel tanks are 16,000 gallons for diesel. There's two 8,000 gallon tanks. So those are huge, and that's why the guys have to, and gallons, whoever's attached to down there have to be available to sleep sometimes.
Thank you for providing context.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. We will now thank you very much for your time. We now turn it over to the chief planner or case planner to provide the staff report.
Case planner.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be going reading the staff report dated August 14, 2023 for application number H2 2022-60. The applicant, TeleGuam Holdings LLC, doing business as GTA, is requesting approval for a conditional use permit for the construction of a cable landing station on lot 154-R4 in the Municipality of Inalahan in an R1 single family dwelling zone. The legal authority is Title 21 GCA Real Property, Chapter 61 the Zoning Law, and Section 61303 Conditional Use. The subject lot is located in Inalahan, and the lot area is 8,476 square meters or 91,234 square feet, and is presently zoned R1 single family dwelling zone. Under the master plan, the subject lot is designated as residential, medium to low. Under the community design plan, the designation is urban residential, low density, and there is no previous commission action on this lot. The application was accepted on January 5th, 2023, presented to the application review committee on January 19th, 2023, and a public hearing was held on May 16th, 2023. Onto the discussion and staff analysis. Since the applicant presented their justification to Section 61303 for conditional uses, Madam Chair, if I may, I'd like to skip onto the impacts of proposed uses. Okay, thank you. So on to impact of proposed uses on adjacent lands, including health, safety, and general welfare factors. We believe that the applicant, in its efforts to address the impacts of the proposed facility on the adjacent lands, has been consulting with the various government entities and property owners to address any issues that might have an impact to the surrounding properties in reference to health, safety, and general welfare. This facility will have no full-time employees in the proposed two-story building, and maintenance vehicles will access the site once weekly. A low noise emission system will be in use, and a high efficiency generator with silencers will be in use only in the event of power loss and will meet the latest EPA guidelines. Lights will be set to avoid any migratory birds or indigenous bats. Landscaping will include local and indigenous species planted along the front of the building, and fruit trees will remain intact to maintain a food source for any species. Regarding water and sewer demand impacts, the applicant was provided a copy of GWA's position statement regarding GWA's requirements for water and sewer services. In regards to power, GPA will require the developer to meet the requirements of GPA to adequately support the project. We are confident that the applicant has an existing business entity, has established rules and policies to ensure their companies and the public's health, safety, and general welfare are protected. The applicant is in compliance with the government of Guam's permitting and certifying entities' health, safety, and general welfare requirements, and will continue to comply with those requirements. In addition, to address the security and safety, the applicant is to provide and maintain a chain-linked fence along the perimeter of the proposed facility. Based on our review and analysis, the form and context of this application, and in reference to the zoning law, and the positive response of the Inalahan Municipal Planning Council resolution, and the positive response received from the ARC agencies, we have concluded that the proposed use is compatible with existing uses in the proximity of the proposed facility, and that the applicant has been and will continue to consult with the various government entities and the Inalahan Municipal Planning Council to ensure compliance with their requirements. Therefore, our findings are that the requested conditional use is in line with the requirements of section 61303 of the zoning code, and we find it proper to be considered favorably by the Guam Hybrid Land Use Commission. And lastly, onto staff recommendation, we recommend approval with the following condition: that the applicant adhere to the ARC conditions and requirements as stipulated on their official position statement, and that there shall be no changes to the approved conditional use permit unless subjected before the ARC review and the GHLUC approval. And this concludes our staff report. Included with the staff report is the ARC memo, public hearing minutes, and the Inalahan Municipal Planning Council resolution.
Case planner, thank you for that summary report. I'll now turn it over to my colleagues to see if you have any questions for case planner and Kobe. Questions? One more item. We now open the floor up for a public comment at this time. And if you are available for public comment, may I ask that you approach the microphone and please state your name. I don't see any hands up, so I will now close public comment at this time. I believe we are now ready to entertain a motion for application number H2022-60. The applicant, TeleGuam Holdings LLC, DBA requests a conditional use permit for the proposed construction and operation of a cable landing station on lot 154-R4 in the Municipality of Inalahan in an R1 single-family dwelling zone. Do I hear a motion for action?
The motion to approve the application.
Okay, motion was made by Mayor Chargula. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Susan Smosky is seconded by Mayor Rivera. Any further discussion before we take action? I don't see any. All in favor of approving the motion before us, please signify by saying aye, raising your right hand. The ayes have it, it's unanimous. The application is approved. Thank you very much. Susan Mossy to our representative.
Susan, thank you very much.
Best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
The next two applications before us today are for a project that required two permits, a conditional use and then zone variance for height and story. I noticed that we have a consolidated staff report for this project. However, commissioners, I ask that when we are ready to take action, we make separate motions for the two applications before us. So, first item, conditional use, extension of time, item 5B, application number H2018-47A-1. The applicants, Cheng T, Chien and Joanne Y.C. Liou, represented by FC Benavente planners, request an extension of time for an approved conditional use permit to allow the construction of two mixed-use multifamily dwelling structures on lot 5029-5-1 and lot 5029-5-2 in the Municipality of Dededo in a C commercial zone. Case planner for this is Ms. Celine Cruz. We also have under zone variance extension of time, 5C, application number H2018-47B-1, the applicants, Cheng T, Chien and Joanne Y.C. Liou, represented by FC Benavente planners, request an extension of time for an approved zone variance for height and story to allow for the construction of two 154 feet high, 14-story mixed-use multifamily dwelling structures on lot 5029-5-1 and lot 5029-5-2 in the Municipality of Dededo in a C commercial zone. Case planner for this, as well as Ms. Celine Cruz. I will now turn the floor over to the applicant or representative to provide a presentation, and please state your name.
Company Chair, Chair and members of the Commission, Mr. Benavente, representing Richard and his wife. You thank you for the summary of the application. On December 20, 2021, the Guam Hybrid Language Commission, and then generally just reading from the application, Madam Chair, it has the process of our movement here. The conditional use application for 18.7A, of which we can be running, and a zone variance application for 18.72, the height and story for 214-story apartment buildings on top property. The approval notice of access was reported at land management on 30. We are here because the notice of action on the front page of it, and it's exhibit A. Important notice, we carefully, it says the project shall within 1 year of date of reporting of the notice, the applicant must apply for and receive a building or building permit for the approved project within 1 year of the date of recordation of this notice of action. Otherwise, the approval of the project as granted by the Commission shall expire. So we are here requesting for an extension of time because the owners have not been able to successfully apply for and acquire for the permit. And we submit the following factors as causing project progress delay. First part, again, is in the application. The President's time, building cost and construction materials, equipment, and labor. These are cognizant that these two applications were submitted to the HDR in 2018 with preliminary studies and design beginning in 2017. These studies and designs were based on the rated prices at the time. And two, the designers started to compare different structural systems, concrete shear walls or steel molds, etc. So they were doing some value engineering on how to proceed with the structure. When concluded, this process takes no time to be done. Three, COVID-19 has had a tremendous effect on financing and ownership. It's time to firm up new and output funding. The unanticipated effects of the pandemic have caused normally relying on investors to hold funds, including other sources of funds, moving to other investments. The project is still very viable, and the owners are optimistic for a successful conclusion of ongoing negotiations. And before, we're still working on the mitigation plan to address the concerns of the Department of Agriculture. And this is actually finished in draft photograph. And as you notice in the notes of that, the Department of Agriculture required an environmental baseline survey for proceeding with putting and grading for construction. Work is still working on the design, and drawings are 60% completed. And also, there's still work on soil investigation for relation testing. So we're still moving as expeditiously as possible forward, but the delays because of the reasons I mentioned, it's continuing to delay. So ownership is still committed to proceeding with this project, and we request the HGL's support approval of this request for time. We've already submitted a preliminary grading application permit. And actually, that was approved by last administration as one of the signers. So, we still got to take to agriculture, but that application has been submitted. So we're still making progress. Just that the issue that I mentioned, the project for the I submitted with the packet. For those of you who are not familiar with the location, this is just. This is in the application. It's just a little bit south of CTRNC with two different lots separated by sewer. And the proposed structure. That concludes the presentation, Madam Chair, and
This is Nancy, Mr. Benavente, and now turning it over to my colleagues to see if you have any questions. Yes.
You mentioned that agriculture is doing their soil testing.
No. We are doing the fauna.
Okay. Did they find found any species that are snails yet? You haven't found any snails yet?
No. Not the invaders.
Okay.
There's no breadfruit trees there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for my colleagues? I do have a couple of questions. As you proceed with obviously the critical path to to make more progress with going through the development itself, how feasible with the high cost of construction, and I don't know to what extent that would cause further delay, but what is it? What have you found to be the price per square foot for this particular type of development?
I don't know the answer to that.
That's okay.
A typical concrete building, and the owner, Mr. Cheng, is a structural and civil engineer. So he was looking into steel, concrete is too expensive, labor. So looking at an alternate way to construct it. He looked into that, and that's a specialty. He's also the contractor.
I try not to opine, but I reference what we are going through at our university, where we had the quotes from over 10 years back being roughly about $200 per square foot. Now it's up to $1,000 per square foot. and behind the fence up to 1,300 per square foot. And so as we think about developments that have been on hold, just to gain context of what is the current situation. And I always ask this question about, are the proposed dwellings considered affordable dwellings in light of the rising costs of living on island, and certainly the need to have more affordable options for especially our young adults as they contemplate whether or not they're going to stay on island or move to Las Vegas.
Affordable housing. Your planning is the agency that always pushes for at least a percentage. Then affordability is defined by a formula. Number of people in the house, income. So typically for private projects, Chair, affordable housing is not part of the it's not in the district. Affordable housing is typically a government function. And I know you shouldn't say this, but practically got done with the meeting with do that. And that's actually the conclusion. Is that for affordable housing are available to our children and next generation, us to get to these senior citizens that need. We need to be. There's no way that we can afford the buildings that are going up for residences, given the existing cost of labor, cost of materials, cost of land, and those are just, we could do. Probably a percentage of the units to be defined as somehow defined as affordable to a formula. But there, it's almost a moving target. What is affordable in terms of small land trust, affordable in terms of housing? Rural has the other position for some affordable. You have the other definition of affordable according to the bank in the finance country. So it's a bigger conversation. We'll bring it up to the owner. Out of the 80 units, how many we can set aside? We have this considered.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, I will go ahead and we now turn it over to our either chief planner or case planner for their summary report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go ahead and read the combined commission brief on behalf of Chief Planner Cruz. This is a request for renewal for applications number 2018-47A-1 and 2018-47B-1. The applicants are requesting for an extension of time for a previously approved conditional use and zone variance request in order to continue the development of a mixed-use multifamily dwelling complex on lot 5029-5-1 and lot 5029-5-2 in a commercial zone in the municipality of Dededo. The legal authority is Title 21 GCA Real Property, Chapter 61, the Zoning Law, Section 61303 Conditional Use, and Section 61616 to 61624 Variances. On December 9th, 2021, the Commission approved the applicant's conditional use application for a multifamily use in a commercial zone and a zone variance application for height and story 124 feet above the maximum allowable height of 30 feet and 11 stories from the allowable 3 stories to construct 2 154 feet high, 14-story buildings within the proposed mixed-use multifamily dwelling complex. The complex is to be developed on 2 lots bifurcated by a 38 feet wide easement, and in its final development is to consist of a single mixed-use 14-story building on each lot with a basement parking area, guest commercial uses on the 1st and 2nd floors, and the remaining 12 floors, 3rd to the 14th floor, is to accommodate the proposed 40 residential units. The applicant, in response to a condition on both of the notice of actions for the conditional use and zone variance approvals, submits its request for an extension of time to allow them to continue with the ongoing studies and project design to obtain the necessary permits for the construction of their approved development. We find that the requests for both the conditional use and zone variance are in proper form and context and submit them to the commission for their action. Lastly, to staff recommendation, it is our position that the applicant's continuing coordination with the permitting agencies finds that the applicant is compliant to the conditions imposed, have been, and continues to work with appropriate government entities in adhering to said agency's requirements. In line with the above, we recommend a favorable commission review of the request with the following condition: that the applicant continues compliance to the conditions as specified on the conditional use approval notice of action dated December 20th, 2021, filed under document number 971798, and on the zone variance approval notice of action dated December 20th, 2021, filed under document number 972299. And this concludes the commission brief. Included with this is the request package and the approved site plan.
Thank you very much, case planner. I now turn it over to my colleagues to see if you have any questions for case planner. I don't see any. Thank you. I now open the floor for public comment. See any hands raised. I'll go ahead and close for public comment. Thank you, Mr. Benavente. I will now entertain an action for a motion for action.
We're doing these two separate.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the conditional use extension of time for application number H2018-47A-1. The applicants Cheng T and Joanne Y.C. Liou, represented by Mr. Benavente. Planner request for an extension of time for the approval of conditional use permit to allow for the construction of 2 mixed-use multifamily dwelling structures on lot 5029-5-1 and lot number 5029-5-2 in the municipality of Dededo.
Thank you, Mayor Samara, for this motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Mayor Cheng. Yes. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor of approving the motion for application H2018-47A-1, please signify by saying aye and raising the right hand. Aye. The ayes have it. It's unanimous. The application H2018-47A-1 is hereby approved. I'm now ready to entertain a motion for application number H2018-47B-1. At this time. Here we go.
I'd like to make a motion to approve application number H2018-47B-1. Applicants Cheng T and Joanne Liou, represented by FC Benavente planners, requesting for an extension of time for an approved zone variance for height and story to allow for the construction of 2 154 feet high, 14-story mixed-use multifamily dwelling structure on lot 5029-5-1 and lot 5029-5-2 in the municipality of Dededo in a commercial zone.
Motion is made. Do I hear a second to the motion? Thank you, Commissioner Forrest. Any discussion on this motion?
I just have a question of curiosity. So when you use extension of time, how much time of asking per year?
Well, and the notice of action says that you must apply for and receive the agreement Building permit for clearing grading. So that's all it is, just to give us time to get things. Building, the construction could take. But the permit is what we ran into, and the reason for that is we have to comply and go over the conditions of the agencies in their position statement. So if you go over the position statement, it's a very detailed requirements. And if they're not included in the building, you have to like redesign the building or do some build studies on the ground to accommodate. And then when you get all that design thing, then you gotta apply for the permit. So the permit application process itself. So even after the GOEC approved an application for a building, you still gotta redesign that building to fit the conditions of the government. And then apply for it. So it's almost automatic, we're gonna be back to the in the building on time because the you gotta get that permit within 1 year. You know how long we used to get a permit there, you know. And that's what design buildings. So
Thank you. Good question. Any other questions? Any further discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the application, please signify by saying aye and raising your right hand.
Aye.
It is unanimous. The application H2018-47B-1 is hereby approved. Thank you very much. Best wishes, Mr. Benavente, on behalf of the let's see, you're an hour. Next item on the agenda is the tentative development plan for an extension of time. Item B, application number H2020-31C. The applicant, Vista Del Mar International LLC, represented by Daniel Lee, requests an extension of time for an approved tentative development plan for a proposed hotel resort, multifamily and single-family residential development on lot 10163-R2 and lot 10189-2 in the municipality of Tamuning in a page hotel resort zone. The case planner for this application is Mr. Frank Titano. I will now turn the floor over to the applicant, a representative, to provide a presentation. But before I do so, I'd like to know if there are any conflicts. I request for recusal by Commissioner Flores. So I guess at this time, I will ask you to step out. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, if we could just have you provide for the record the purpose for your request for refusal.
I would like to recuse myself for personal reasons.
Personal reason. Is that appropriate? Yes, okay, that is appropriate. Thank you very much. Yes, we still have yes, lots we have 5 members. We still have. Thank you for that. Okay. I will now turn the floor over to the applicant or representative to provide a presentation before the commission. And please state your name for the record.
Second Madam Chair, Dan Swayler here on behalf of Vista Del Mar International.
Yes.
Thank you for this. Covered commission. I want to especially recognize there's Savaris and there who are on the initial hybrid commission where this was approved by the bill. Chief Planner Celine shared with me her position statement, which she's going to later correctly summarize where we are with this project. And I agree with that summary. I agree with her. Deciding about the events. Fact is that this, like many others, should have been started within 1 year as a condition of approval. And it never was that. Cannot be done. We're working on it. We're well into the permitting process. But a project the size of this development line. It's huge. And the permitting comes to the permitting. So we are in that permitting process. And we're in it because we're not beginning because it's a condition of approval. One is there's a condition of approval. Do not start construction until we have. That's really that's the essence of it. I could go through all where we are with the agency. The process is long, it's protracted, it's feasible. It's difficult. We make progress every week. For instance, right now currently, it's this week, we're working with SHPO to get our draft archaeological survey research design approved. And we have hired the archaeological firm search. We are working with EPA to get our storm water pollution prevention plan approved. We hired civil engineering shortage prime for that. Registered civil engineering firm. So we're working with the Department of Agriculture and U.S. Fish and Wildlife to get some specificity to the methodologies we require in case we find endangered flora and fauna. Yeah, it takes some time. We have hired the environmental services for that. So we've staffed these permitting processes with competent global consultants, and we're working on multiple processes. But we couldn't say, I'm not even sure about this. So what I can say is, push on. That's what we're doing. We'll hire the right people, we'll hire more. We'll hire whoever is necessary. Make this thing happen, get our government so that we can begin the first phase of construction. I've outlined it all in this application for you. So I'm going to get it to our applications and where we are. But yes, so it is doing the very best. It's impossible to start construction in 1 year. Regardless of what the condition of approval said, regardless of what the executive order is dated 95 or 96 of 1996. The rules and regulations were promulgated in 85. It's a different era. It's totally different era. Maybe we used to be able to, sometimes we did, not all, sometimes we did. So maybe this, now we've had 3 in a row here. Maybe this is the time to think about it. It's time to change that 1 year, 2 year, bring it up to reality, right? Because well, this is nice, this is fun, it's nice to see you all. It's a waste of time, isn't it? Because you know we're be diligent, you know we're going to do that. The law said, there's no regulation. But anyway, I don't see my point. I hope you agree that we're doing the best we can. We really need your indulgence to do that work.
Thank you very much, Mr. Swavely. I now turn the floor over to my colleagues to see if you have any questions at this time. Mayor Savar.
Thank you. And you know, Mr. Swavely brings up a great point. If that was an executive order, that means it was a governor that signed that, right? Maybe we should, right? And how many governors ago was that did that? Okay. Well, maybe we should look at changing that, and if it has to be done by the current governor, change that existing executive order. I just found out today, co-applicant agreements don't always work. If there's a change in signatures, the application or agreements need to be updated with the current people sitting. And so, of course, we sit here at hybrid commission meetings because that's public law. Anything over $3 million in construction needs to have a hybrid commission. Executive orders, maybe I don't want to take anything to the legislature because that could take years again to go by, or somebody might put their 10 cents in, which would not really satisfy the needs of large construction such as this. But maybe our good deputy director can talk to, or even planners can give, advice on how we can let this go a little more than a year. Because with these huge projects that are, I have several applications and hearings that we're going to have in our communities because of large projects. And I can see us coming back again every year because what agency review committees require is going to take more than a year to get those permits. And just especially Vista Del Mar, there was a lot during their public hearing. They had many other recommendations from the public hearings and the agencies to see that project moved. And I remember Mayor Rivera saying her municipal planning council had to review as well and satisfy the community to see these great projects go through for our community. Because let's face it, when we talk housing, we don't have enough housing for the number of people that are going to be coming, even our affordable housing for our current families. You can't affordable housing on Guam. It's not affordable to our younger generation, And so what we need to do is maybe find, maybe through the commission, Madam Chair, make a recommendation to the current leadership to make amendments to this executive order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Savaras and Mr. Swift, points well taken. And I was going to ask our legal counsel attorney Jenny about is this something that we could place on the regular commission agenda for discussion and consideration with regard to taking an existing taking a very old executive order that has basically set the parameters for the example that we heard today, and perhaps making it a proposed action item with regard to presenting it before this current government for consideration.
I do want to add in just a little bit about why I believe the executive order put in place that 1 year timeline. I believe, especially for zone changes and maybe more in particular the zone changes, although it doesn't apply to zone changes. It's to avoid speculation type of developments. When we have applicants in front of us presenting their history on Guam, all their experience and all their accolades, and then we approve an application from this applicant, we wouldn't want them to turn around and sell the project the next day and make money off it. We want to see actual development from all this work that goes in, and the way to do it is to put the pressure on by saying you need to submit a permit within a year, and it's any type of permit. But I do understand developers do have to redesign projects many times because of the application review committee recommendations or conditions of approval, and then that takes time. So maybe not eliminating the 1 year timeline altogether, but maybe putting in a little bit more time for the review or for the submission of those permits, maybe a 2 year timeline. but not eliminating it altogether.
We'll, take it up as an agenda item for the regular commission. Discussion. Thank you very much. Any other questions from my colleagues or our representative? Thank you very much, Mr. Swigley. Okay, I now turn it over to our chief planner or case planner for staff's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go ahead and read the commission brief dated August 7th, 2023 on behalf of the case planner, Mr. Frank Saitino. This is a request for an extension of time for application number 2020-31C. Vista Del Mar International LLC is requesting for an extension of time for proposed hotel resort, multifamily and single-family residential development on lots 10163-R2 and lot 10189-2 in a hotel resort zone in the municipality of Tamuning. As conditionally approved by the Commission on June 17, 2022, the tentative development plan is to develop a hotel resort and residential complex consisting of 2 hotel towers with a water park, 3 multifamily towers, and a 47 single-family housing subdivision. Phase 1 is to develop the hotel water park element of the complex. The hotel is a 2-level, 33-story, 330 feet high, 496-room tower on the plateau, connected via a pedestrian sky bridge to a 31-story, 310 feet high, 240-room tower on the beach level. Phase 2 is to develop the 288-unit multifamily condominium element of the complex. Phase 3 is to develop the subdivision element of the complex consisting of 47 single-family residential units. The applicant submits a brief on the status of efforts to obtain a permit for the partial clearing of the Vista Del Mar property and included a copy of the permit application and response from the Department of Parks and Recreation and Guam Environmental Protection Agency. In conclusion, we find that the request package is in proper form and context and submitted to the Commission for their action. Lastly, staff recommendation. It is our position that the applicant's continuing coordination with the permitting agencies finds that the applicant is complying to the conditions imposed, have been, and continues to work with appropriate government entities in adhering to said agencies' requirements and ensuring that best management practices are in place. In line with the above, we recommend a favorable Commission review of the request with the following condition: that the applicant continues compliance to the conditions as specified in the notice of action dated June 20th, 2022, filed under document number 975951. And this concludes the Commission brief. Included with this is the notice of action and the approved master plan.
Thank you very much, case planner. I now turn it over to my colleagues to see if you have any questions. There are no questions. I now will open the floor up for public comment. Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to report for public comment? If so, please approach the microphone. I don't see any. I would now close public comment at this time and will now entertain a motion for action. This is for application number H2020-31C.
Motion to approve. That's the development plan. Extension of time. Application number H2020-31C. The applicant, Vista Del Mar International LLC, represented by Daniel E. requests an extension of time for an approved tentative development plan for a proposed hotel resort, multifamily and single-family residential development on lot 10163-R2 and lot 10189-2 in the municipality of Tamuning and H hotel resort.
Response, the Mayor King. Do I hear a second motion? Ms. Mancia, Mayor Charkala, any discussion on this motion? There being none, I will call for the vote. All in favor of approving the motion for application H2020-31C, please signify by saying aye, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. The ayes have it, it's unanimous. Application is approved. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Cheng. I will now turn the floor over. Well, I think we can call Commissioner Flores back in. Oh, she's up. Okay. Okay, that's it. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I will now turn the floor over to Acting Executive Secretary, Mr. Arroyo. Are there any other matters of announcements for the commission today?
No, well, just one, I did follow up regarding the commission member that was already in the legislature.
Okay.
It still hasn't been on, it's still, I believe,
It's in the committee.
committee. Yeah, we saw the announcement, but I reached out to the board. It's, you know,
There's no timeline.
no timeline yet. We haven't, just, that's,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. We are now at adjournment. I am ready to entertain a motion for adjournment for today's meeting.
I move to adjourn this hybrid commission meeting.
Thank you very much, Mayor Morris. Motion made to adjourn. Seconded by Mayor Rivera. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. The meeting is hereby adjourned. It is now 2:58 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Massey, for joining us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service.
No more typhoons.